what else can you ask for, man?
That's right. I mean, they got it all. They got the bands they want. They got the picks that they want. This looks like a Nexplay game, but can Omega prove us wrong as we head into game number 1 of week number 2's match 2? Heading into it, Omega, can they prove us wrong? Can they beat us on the predictions?
It's a tall order if you ask me, man. It's all about controlling the early game here because the Omega lineup here really hurts in the early game versus NXP. Especially considering the fact that H2O needs to ramp up. As I say that, Heath trying to get a couple of information here in the back lane, just trying to get info on the purple. Hayes not looking to invade. Toshi already in position. Heath might offer his life for the cause. It will be secured by H2O. Manages to make it out of there, and Omega wasted a lot of time in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Omega looking like they are going to be at least controlling the Lethal Wanderer, which is a great time to, start the match. Having the vision doesn't really matter that much at this point for now, because Hajizi is definitely going to be so slippery. You won't be able to predict where he's going to fly anyway with the Ling. So, I don't know. Mid lane might be better, but other lanes are in danger.
Yeah, I agree. Hajizi can... This is the only advantage that I'm seeing from Omega. Hajizi has the capability to split push whenever NXP decides to push as a team, which is their strong suit here. As I say that, over to the bottom lane, a bit of a scuffle for the neutral minion camp, but it's all good in the hood. Meanwhile, yeah, it's a Hajizi thing here. What do you think about that?
Now, Hajizi is he's gonna have a good time rather, because there's also no hard crowd control inside of NXP. Right now, though, Hajizi will pick up the kill. Again, no one can really counter him at this point. James is off the sides. Same with Yaoi, but right now, looks like another big fight here.
Yeah, James in the backline trying to zone out Toshi here. Meanwhile, Paquito, Heath manages to survive. A bit of a response here from Omega going back in towards the turtle side of things for them to secure it. Yaoi would still pay the price. Will actually pay the price for this. Manages to flicker out and survives the fight. Extort ready to back him up, but the turtle is going to be safe in the hands of Omega at this point.
Yeah, Omega is going to be at least concerned with objectives, which we have seen since level 1. So this is going according to plan, I think, at least for them. But the top lane did not.
Yeah, good outplay by Renegade there over in the top lane. Despite being on the turret, still manages to secure the kill onto Curtizi. And I feel like that is the setback that NXP wants to happen to Omega. Try to put the cores in a disadvantage here since there are a lot. And as I say that, NXP will try to disengage this fight against Omega. Will try to counter-initiate themselves. James looking for an opportunity to pop the ultimate, but the HPs are incredibly low here for NXP as they manage to take down Yaoi. Not really the one that you want to take down first as James takes down Hayes. It is a 1-for-1 trade. Heat next in line here, secured by Renegade, and Hajizi force a recall out.
This is what I'm talking about, man. Exhort decision-making on that Angela turned that around. And Omega actually was worse because of what they did. They ended up on the losing side there. At the same time, just buying time for Curtizi, which is not bad. But you gave H2O some kills and assists. That is not where you want to be at if you're fighting against NXP with H2O on the Claude.
Yeah, H2O, as long as he starts to snowball in the game, he's just going to take control of the mid-game later on, even more so on the Claude. Now, the main question here is, how will Omega transition into the mid-game where team fights are important?
That's right. Again, team fights are going to be where the focus is of Omega anyway with that lineup. They just want a team fight, and they're doing that right now.
As H2O will fall down to the hands of Hajizi, but here comes the hard guard to try to protect him as much as possible. And
instant 1v3. Look at that.
Instant 1v3, and this has to be a little bit more damage on the mid lane. Renegade will be repositioning himself to find an opening, but he gets found by Heath himself. He is going to be forced to back off.
Yeah, Heath again on the Paquito is not the usual Heath that we see, but he is doing the job. He's doing the job so far. Again, James is not ready to fight yet, so they're not really in any big danger as of yet. Same with H2O. But I want to see if Heath can extend their lead further with this hero.
Yeah, I agree, because you have to, and with this lineup that Omega has, they have to make sure that they're way ahead of the line here against NXP for them to be very effective. Just like what you said, H2O and James are not ready to fight yet. As I say that, Yaoi actually looking for a little bit of a fight here against Heat. Here comes the ultimate being popped by Renegade, forced to flicker out. Heat is out of commission for now, but the turtle will again be secured by Omega.
Yeah, a little bit funny there. They're making some pretty weird ultimate calls there. But, you know what? Maybe that's just the play for NXP. They're making some weird stuff that the enemy can't really decipher. And that's gonna make Omega question their decisions coming into this one.
As Cortese picks up the corrosion site, slowly going to be a problem this one when as H2O forces to BMI out of the fight. Meanwhile, over the bottom lane, James and Toshi in a bit of a scuffle, but it's not really as impactful as we want to assume. But Renegade is the primary target for Courtesy and Heath, and they may just be able to take him down, but Renegade!
My God!
Doing what he can to dish out a lot of damage, almost takes out Cortese. Exhort gonna try to survive here in this fight. Here comes the blazing duet.
Look
will
at that!
Down Heat in the backline, and H2O hungry for blood in the backline, forced to use the Tempest of Blades to try to escape the hands of NXP. Omega lost that fight, to be honest. It's a 1v1.
Yeah, it was not a great trade to be had, especially giving H2O another assist, more gold to the laner, and James as well on the bot side getting a big turret.
And you really don't want to give an Alice a lot of space to farm in any game of Mobile Legends for that matter. Because as soon as her passive is up to 30 stacks, she's already online. And looking at how Omega is playing right now, it's looking likely that NXP, like James and H2O, will have a good time in the mid game.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I think there's going to be a big question of whether Cortese is ready to fight, because James is just getting ready. He is warming up already. And I want to see some really proactive play here for Omega that doesn't fall apart. Because everything they've been doing so far has been falling apart.
And speaking of falling apart, the Turtle has not been falling to the side of NXP for now, but they are starting it off right now, doing a good job. Yaoi just zoning off the members of Omega here. Gets the stun onto Hadjizi as well to prevent him from stealing the Turtle away from them. So it's not a perfect Turtle game for Omega for now. But with the Turtle buff onto H2O, this should be a turret conversion for them, for that matter. Meanwhile, over at the top lane, Renegade and Cortese in a scuffle, but they will disengage.
Yeah, I think Renegade is... This is what we saw on the first day, by the way. Renegade playing on the Vendetta. They didn't get complete W's there, but he played it perfectly. So far, Renegade as a player really maturing in Season 7, man.
Maturing as a player is always a good thing, not always a bad thing. It's always a good thing, especially considering the fact that Season 6 was, I'd beg to differ, not the best performance.
Yeah, Season 6 was the H2O show.
Yeah. And everybody else on the side of NXP, they're all showing up. James being showed up here against Omega, but he managed to survive. Barely still survived. Guess the immobilization. The micro outplay from James. What was that?
What was that? What?
That shouldn't happen.
That shouldn't happen.
He should have been dead.
That was an easy kill.
It was 4 versus 1.
4 versus 1 for how many seconds? 1 minute?
But James, man, James has been a god on
god.
that micro on that Alice, man.
Oh, man. Sorry. We lost our track. I love it, man. I love it.
I love the game. That was so beautiful. As we go ahead and mourn over the potential loss of James there. The Turtle, the Lord area was being contested by Omega, looking to get a fight here over in the mid lane. Because all things considered, NXP is still ahead in the game because of the fact that, I mean, Omega is ahead of the game because they have all the tier 1 turrets. They have full reign over the jungle of NXP.
Yeah, in core of the game, man, MLBB still a gold game, and if you are ahead, you definitely have a big advantage in the coming team fights. Composition can only carry you so far.
It's all about execution here. Speaking of execution, H2O looking to execute Cortese, but it's not going to happen. Despite the blazing duet, still not a secured kill. Meanwhile, over the mid lane, they're trying their chance onto James. Once again, Toshi gets taken out.
Oh, look at this, man. The momentum. Can you feel it? Slowly shifting. Exhort, though.
Yeah, Exhort. No doubt, will fall down to Cortese, singling out the support player there as Yaoi
Oh, look at
Tries
this
to
guy.
buy a lot of time here for NXP to reposition, but no help is coming aside from H2O, and H2O decides to yeet out of there. Just BMI out. Hajizi looking to get a kill here onto H2O, but the damage output from H2O is enough.
Whoa!
The 1v1
Dude!
outplays here from NXP. The micro could not have been real. James looking for a kill onto Hajizi, manages to make it out. Hayes will get the brunt of the damage there from James, but it doesn't matter. Omega still not able to secure a kill for themselves.
That is unbelievable, man. We got some pretty slick moves happening for NXP. They know they're not in the lead in terms of gold, but they're definitely making a case for, you know, out-microing the opponent. On the other side, though, I love what Omega's doing. Curtizi, instant Mara fan, by the way. Mara's an instant fan of this guy, just because of how he was. We were just talking about this guy. He knows how to hold down that lane. You never see him on the highlights, but he knows how to do his job.
Doing the job of a Wan, not showing up in team fights as much as possible and being a big nuisance is the main thing here for Curtizi.
Yes,
that was his job.
absolutely.
He was able to take down the tier 2 turret in the top lane, and it's slowly making NXP have a run for their money. Speaking of which, they tried to go for a fight against Soshi and Heath. They already expended the Heart Guard as well, so that's an ultimate out for NXP, an opening for Omega to go for a team fight, but I don't think they will oblige.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned Toshi, by the way, because this guy's what you have to watch out for if you're NXP. A very fed Esmeralda is something that's very scary. And there's a reason why Esmeralda was almost perma-banned last season. And I think that fact is still apparent here in this season because of the scaling of this guy becomes almost unkillable in the late game.
That's true. And with the, well, not the lack of catches here, they still have catches on the Esmeralda, but at the same time, with the way the team fights have been going here, NXP really wants to go for the extended team fights as much as possible because Omega can wipe them out, but at the same time, Toshi on that Esmeralda thrives on the extended team fights. As the longer the team fight goes, the longer Esmeralda would be very effective in the fight. And
Yeah.
NXP is now forced in a conundrum where do we extend the team fight so that we can pick up almost all the members of Omega, or do we keep it as short as possible, try to pick up one and then back off?
I feel like the extended team fight definitely goes in favor of the guys who have more sustain. And if you look at the lineup, obviously we have a few sustains that will be happening for NXP. The Spell Vamp from the Vendetta, obviously Spell Vamp from the Alice, and H2O is going to have a lot of lifesteal later on, so it's a matter of time, man. If we can reach 18 minutes with NXP still pretty much on even, Omega is going to start to falter as well.
And as we say that, Renegade and Hajizi in a duel, Hajizi more damage output, but manages to get out. Renegade, Lord is now luminous. That is the main target here for NXP to potentially even out the map control, as Curtizi is just buying himself some time for the team. Renegade being dueled out here by Hayes and Hajizi. James going for the backstab. We'll try to go for Hayes here, and will pop the ultimate. Hayes being forced to Sammy Umbrella out of there. Renegade obliges him with a fight, and he's gonna get taken out. Curtizi next in line, 1-1, the crossbow of Tang.
Oh, surprise!
Hello! And H2O will go down, and it is a winning fight. It is a 3-for-1 trade in favor of Omega. This Lord should be theirs, but James has other plans. Makes it a 2-for-3 trade. Now the Lord is not available. Meanwhile, Renegade chasing down Curtizi here. Hajizi in the proper area to try to cut him off. No Tempest Blades available, but will get taken out.
So here we go. I feel like that was just a perfect moment. By the way, this instant replay is brought to you by Oppo A94. Experience gaming at full speed, the Oppo A94. Get yours for only $13,999. This was supposed to be the call. H2O was right where he wanted to be, but he got bursted down almost instantly. And I feel like that was a big missed moment there for NXP.
A big missed moment. They were all in good spots. Like, the moment that H2O decided to come in, it could have been the perfect opportunity for James to also pop his ult to just maximize the damage that they have. But they were all scattered apart. There weren't really any good shot calls there in that fight. And now they're struggling to keep their presence in the map stable here.
Yeah, and again, so far, because of the anchoring position of Curtizi, they are able to also out-sustain. Not to mention Hajizi is having one of the best games so far of Season 7, at least for this guy. I think Omega can do no wrong here. If they can keep this up, they definitely have this game.
If they can keep this up, and I feel like they can as the Lord starts marching on towards the Tier 3 inhibitor turret here. There comes the big team fight. Renegade trying to go for a pickoff here. The damage output is really not for NXP. Lord will get taken out. This turret is going to go down without a shadow of a doubt. And NXP still looking for a big opportunity here. Pickoffs is where they thrive, and with Omega just bunching up together, they're not going to get to the pickoffs that they want.
Yeah, I don't think so as well. I feel like late game H2O is something that NXP can't rely on. James, though!
James in the back lines gets Curtizi, but not enough of damage, but he decides to go for the Blood Orb. Still gets taken out, though. Renegade out for the hunt, gets the kill onto Curtizi, gets a good trade. Here comes
over the wall.
Still manages to survive. The Tempest of Blades makes him
still alive.
Makes him alive, man. Yaoi in the backline as well as H2O looking to push everybody back, but the matter of fact is they need to watch the turret at the bottom lane. Hajizi looking for an opportunity to push this lane himself, and NXP will finally go back.
Yep, the Yin Yang overturn also missed by Hayes there. And Hajizi, quick slate of the turret there. One poke, all you need for that HP, because it will regenerate a little bit. So it's great that they are able to hold that down at least, and they still get what they came for in the end.
Yeah, and now NXP, they're down to one turret left. Super minions will start pushing in over the side lanes, and those are the lanes that you really don't want super minions pushing, because you'll be all over the place trying to defend this, and NXP needs to equalize the map as fast as they can. Where did everything go wrong here for NXP?
I feel like NXP, they have that mid-game reliance on H2O that they can't do right now because he is on Claude. So right now, without H2O's initiatives, I feel like NXP is just starting to just feel this game out.
Oh, this is not a good spot for Yaoi. Gets caught out by Heat, but Omega didn't decide to push through with that fight, as a pause will be called here. How can NXP turn things around, man?
I mean, unsurprising that we saw that the way that they're fighting. Again, a lot of times with NXP's wins on the previous week, it was H2O making the call that I want to go, I want to make something happen, and he does. You can do that with heroes like the Roger, you can do that with heroes like the Ling, not so much with the Claude.
And we're already at the point where the late game is where Claude and Alice shines, but they're not really shining. Is it the composition here for NXP? Is Omega just the better composition at this point?
So far, I think they have advantages on the side lane. Because, like we saw earlier, there was a lot of roams happening for the Vendetta, which didn't pan out. But when all that was happening, the side lanes were accruing a lot of gold. The Curtizi on the Wan Wan, Toshi on the Esmeralda. They didn't roam as much, but somehow they still had an advantage. And right now, those heroes that we're talking about, they're super fed. They're super hungry. They want to fight. And it only makes Omega a lot tougher in the mid-game.
Yeah, and on paper, it should be NXP that has a good composition in this entire game.
They do, yeah.
They're falling down. No, not a lot of catches here for Omega. And this has been a trend that we saw during their match last week, where they had 4 mages in their entire composition. Not really enough catches for Omega. It's almost the same thing here for Omega. Like, they don't have good catches, but they're still winning the team fights.
Yeah. And again, the team fights in the late game rely a lot on those catches, which they do not have. So they're going to have to be creative. They're going to have to be a little bit more creative here.
Very creative. And do you think NXP needs to be creative in their pickoffs as well?
I mean, who can do the pickoffs, really? It's just a soft crowd control with Yaoi on the Baksha. Other than that, it's also James' soft crowd control. I mean, he has a little bit of a stun. It's only like 0.5 seconds. Or 1.5 seconds. That it's not really that big if you're thinking about the big team fight.
Yeah, it's barely there. And pickoffs is the main story here for NXP. I could confidently say that. As the Lords being started out by Wan Wan here.
Curtizi, as usual, being just the guy that you have to rely on from the back end. And he's going to do the job for you. And that's the same thing happening here on the Lord area. The rest of NXP getting distracted very heavily by the other members of Omega.
And remember when I said earlier on in the early game where Hajizi's importance in this game is to just split push? That is what's happening right now. Hajizi is looking for an opportunity to go for a split push in any available lane whatsoever, be it top or the bottom lane. And that's forcing NXP to always fight at a disadvantage.
Yeah, and you don't want to do that if you are the guy with the Claude, like I said earlier. Just doesn't work out. Exort with the Ice Queen one might be able to do some more AoE damage, AoE soft crowd control, but fight's gonna break out here. Yaoi, he's baiting out, he's buying some info.
And this is not a good fight for NXP. They can try to steal, but they will pay the price as James quickly being bursted out, will be forced out. The Heart Guard will be forced out there.
No Heart Guard, yeah.
He's gonna get taken out, and that they should not have contested the Lord there, to be completely honest. They shouldn't have been in that presence in that area in the first place because it's a 3v5.
Yeah, James might have ended up with a bit of a bad call there. Being caught out by multiple members of Omega, burning the Heart Guard, basically giving away this Lord for free.
And it's slowly becoming an Omega. It's not slowly becoming an Omega game. It's starting to be clear that this is an Omega game as they're trying to target out Renegade, not able to secure the kill itself. Securing that kill on the Renegade might just turn things around here. Like
yeah.
Omega cementing it.
I think Renegade is one of the reasons why NXT is actually still holding on to the lanes. If he isn't playing this well, he probably would have had lanes pushed already, but so far, NXT just is on the downside.
Yeah, and it's going to take two big team fights here for NXP to turn things around as the Yaoi gets in front of the damage here from the Omega Siege over at the mid lane. James and Exort trying to clear out the waves as fast as they can, but with Curtizi just dishing out the damage on that turret, it's all just a matter of time before Omega secures this kill as the Winter Truncheon will be forced out by James, will still be taken out. Here comes the Tempest of Blaze, just trying to pick up any members here, but H2O in the backline manages to take down the kill. Jeezy low on HP as well. The turret is not going to be a factor as the crossbow tank will be forced out here. Will take down one member from Exort. It is a 1-for-1 trade, but it is the time for NXP to really fight this. Renegade not securing that kill despite having the Heart Guard on him. And it's now going to be an Omega game taking game number 1 in this best of 3 series.
What was supposedly delayed